Hey everybody, welcome. It's Thursday afternoon. Just wanted to check in, see how everyone's doing today. I'm coming to you with another live session on a little bit of growth. I know last week I talked about how does growth feel. I would love to get some feedback, comments from those of you who watched it. What stood out to you? What was a surprise? If you found it valuable, if you want me to keep doing topics on growth, whether you want to or not, today is another topic on growth. I'm going to be talking about massive action. This is talked about a lot in a lot of books, a lot of coaches use it. It's the idea that in order to grow, in order to accomplish something, you must undertake massive action. I found that concept a little bit difficult at first. The idea of what does it even mean? Does massive action mean a huge amount of action, a lot of action? The term for me feels a little overwhelming and a little intimidating. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, open up the airwaves on it, and give everyone out there a little bit of a perspective on massive action and how you can implement it when you're trying to achieve your goals. So first and foremost, what is it and what isn't it? Okay. Massive action is not huge action, right? It's not. It's not doing a bunch of big things. It's the opposite. It's doing a lot of little things consistently, right? And I saw this great visual on what's the difference between like action and what's massive action, what it's not, and it was a ladder. So I'm going to draw two ladders here. Ladder number one had huge rungs in between them, and ladder number two were smaller rungs spaced out much closer. Which one of these two ladders would be easier to climb? Obviously, number two, right? Number two is the easier ladder to climb. It's also less intimidating. If I was to offer you the two ladders, you'd take this one because if this is the only one you have, you probably wouldn't even try it. You'd be like, "God, the risk is too great. I could fall. How, I might be able to get to this rung, but how am I going to go from here to here? That's a huge jump." But all the way along this ladder and these steps of growth, you're going to feel more confident as you move higher and higher and higher. This is the massive action. It's many little steps that get you to your goal, right? What's the other component of massive action? Isn't just the many little steps. It's the consistency. It's doing it all the time. That's the major difference. Now, that is something that's hard for people. It's hard for me. I have trouble with consistency. I had a great conversation this week about integrity and how a lot of us believe that we are high integrity people until it comes to ourselves, until it comes to keeping promises to ourselves. And massive action is really about building the habits of integrity so that you can achieve what you want to achieve, so that you don't end up disappointing yourself. Now, I have a few techniques and a few tricks that you can use to create massive action in your own life. And it starts with identifying the goal that you want. Identify the end result. Where do you want to end up? And that's kind of the first part. So when you have that goal in mind and the reasons behind it, and I've talked about this in other lives, there is the what do you want? The what? Number two is the how. How are you going to get there? And then the third piece, it kind of peels off the how. How are you going to break it up into small, manageable steps? And I'll give you an example. So, in about the spring, I was trying to lift my daughter. She's, at that time 8 years old, probably about 55 pounds, and I go to lift her up, and it was hard. I almost dropped her. I just couldn't find the strength to raise her up in the air. And this is the first time in my parenting journey that I haven't easily been able to launch my child. And it really struck a chord. It really hit home with me. I was like, oh, she's getting bigger. But when did I start becoming so weak? Right? And I was like, okay, well, let's put all of my coaching practice into myself and develop a program for myself. So my what was I need to get stronger. There's just something about not being able to pick up your kid that hits you where you live, for me at least. And I really was like, this is what I want. I want to get stronger. It wasn't about losing weight necessarily, although that's been a component of it. It's not about building muscles and looking like Thor, although that would be awesome. I would totally love to look like Thor, but I would have to undergo an extreme hair loss removal program. It was really just about doing something simple, like picking up my kid. And so in about April timeframe, May timeframe, I realized that I just had no routine. None. I had built all these other great routines with my mindset, with journaling, with meditation, doing all those things, trying to keep my stress under control. But I hadn't, and I didn't really have a routine physically. I always tried to intermittent fast, so I tried to stay within my windows, but really that's about it. I exercise when I go to play tennis, but nothing intentional. And the first part of building this habit, so to create this massive action, was to do something daily. So my first rung was about creating a daily habit. When I used to work in the corporate sector and I worked in offices, this daily habit would have been taking the stairs every day, bypassing the elevator and just taking the stairs. Just doing that every single day, that became a new part of the habit. And then once that habit becomes locked in, which usually happens in about 3 weeks, you go give yourself 30 days if you want, then you escalate it. Then you move one more place above the rung. So my daily habit was just to do a daily 5-minute routine that I got an app, found a quick 5-minute routine I can do at home, and do that every single day. I did that for 30 days. My first phase of the how. So to get stronger, I need to build a habit. The next stage was ramp up. And then this was going to be weight training. And I gave myself a nice healthy timeline, 6 months. I said, okay, I'm going to try to get to this part here in 6 months. So I started working on these daily habits. This daily habit, I did this for 21 days. Then I started exercising longer. So it wasn't just 5 minutes, I went to 7. Small increments to get me to the next phase. Now I'm about 4 months in, and I'm probably at about here. And now I'm at to 40 minutes a day. And this can be my workout regime. It could be playing tennis. It could be a combination of the two. But this is a non-negotiable now. 40 minutes a day is built as a habit. And I think for this one, I'm already on a 10 or 11 day streak in a row without breaking. Now, as I move up, and as I'm moving up this, I'm going to add in harder and harder challenges. So right now, I'm also looking at calorie restrictions to start losing some of that extra weight, and just so on and so forth. Now, I've made it a third of the way, roughly, to my goal. But the other day, my daughter came up to me and said, "Hey, Dad, can you lift me on top of this ledge that we have in our house?" And she saw that I had picked up her brother and kind of put him up there. And I'm like, "Oh, great, no problem." Didn't even think about it. Just leaned over, grabbed her, and put her right on top, effortlessly. And this is where it dawned on me that that massive action wasn't a massive action. The result from in my mind was massive. The result that I went from just a few months earlier, struggling, worried that I was going to drop her, to very easily picking her up and putting her on that ledge, reaffirmed to me that the plan was working, that the results are there. And it all started by small incremental steps, building a habit, adding to the habit, and just keep going. And it's a lot easier to forgive yourself when you do a little drop back from, say, 7 minutes to 5, or you have one day where you're fatigued, but you're maintaining a bare minimum. And then this becomes your floor. Then as you move up, that becomes your floor. Then as you move up, that becomes your floor. And the consistency is the key to keeping this all together. So I hope that helps those of you who have ever thought about action, ever thought about massive action, ever thought about how to implement a goal and how to take out the intimidation and the overwhelm of big goals. Put them into bite-sized chunks and tackle each one at a time. And if you have any questions and if you want some help to put a plan together, I'll always offer a 30-minute, I probably go over, conversation just to set yourself up for success. Working with that for me is totally free. Reach out to me, DM me. You can reach me through my website at petebeskus.com, and let's set up a 30-minute chat just to set yourself up for this what, how, and build the steps. All right, so I wish all of you a great long weekend. Or sorry, last week was a long weekend for Canadians. Just a great weekend, gearing up for Halloween. Enjoy those pumpkins and the pumpkin spice lattes. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.